Now, I want to suggest to you that I understand this issue of homosexual marriage. I do get it. I understand that there are some homosexual and heterosexual for whom the issue of marriage is an anathema. They hate marriage and they want to see marriage destroyed, and I'm not sure I understand why, unless perhaps subconsciously they don't get it, that somehow it does reflect the image of God, and they're angry and they're mad at God, and anything that smacks of and reminds them of God they are against. I understand that, but there are some, and I understand them, and I've known them, who are homosexual, who want to be in a married relationship, who are saying, look, I want to be in a committed relationship where I am known and fully known, and I know another and I'm fully known, and there is union and there's intimacy and there's communion and there's fellowship, and I want that. I get that. But I also understand that there are lots of times that we go about trying to fulfill inborn natural things that God has hardwired into us, like this desire for unity and communion and intimacy and fellowship and being known and yet loved. I mean, isn't that the beauty of the church? The relationship between Christ and the church is that he knows us and he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. And he doesn't leave us. They want to give expression to that. But there are lots of ways we can do things to give expression to what God has hardwired into us that are not good. They are putting diesel in the gasoline tank. And the fact of the matter is, let's be honest, church. For those of you who care a lot about politics, the homosexual agenda per se is not the problem with marriage. The problem with marriage is the heterosexual community has begun to deconstruct it long before that ever came along. Because we began to redefine marriage. We began to say that you can experience intimacy and union outside of the boundaries of what God intended. And we have said that it ought to be easier to get out of my marriage than a business contract. When I went around the state my first year in this ministry advocating for the Vote Yes on One Marriage Amendment campaign, I heard that all the time. That the number one reason that I should bug off was because look what the heterosexual community has done and look what's happened in the church. Mind your own business. Take care of your own problems first before you start worrying about what we're going to do to marriage. And they're right. They really are right. That doesn't mean that we don't prohibit marriage from being further destroyed. But we've done our own damage. I have to ask myself, when we think of this issue, you know, we desire intimacy and union. And we seek to fulfill it in wrong ways too, within the heterosexual community. We have adulterous relationships. We get into pornography. Those are artificial ways of experiencing what God intended. It's diesel in the gas tank. And I want to suggest to us that we will be real honest with ourselves and we ask if marriage was intended to reflect the nature and character of God, if marriage was to show to the world, a watching world, what the relationship is between Christ and his church, what kind of picture are we giving them of him and of the church and his love for the church?